Hello, friends. I'm Susan Axelrod, the Confidence Coach. You are in the confidence zone. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. But why is it only 1 month? Why can we not be aware of domestic violence issues and concerns and reality all year long? I asked this question because I learned to ask this question from my dear friend, Kelly Walk Hines. Kelly is a survivor of domestic violence, and she is an author of books on this topic. Kelly is a unique individual who has grown through violence to become a happy person whose entire purpose in life is to edify and to help and support others. As a coach myself, if I have a client who has domestic violence issues, Kelly has told me they can call me. I got them. I've never forgotten that. And I'm delighted today to be bringing you a virtual tour of this amazing exhibit that Kelly has created. And she's here live with us today. Hello, my friend. Good to see you.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I
It's such
appreciate
a
it.
it's such a pleasure, Kelly. When you told me that your goal of your work, your books, your speaking, this exhibit is to create a year-round awareness of the issues of domestic violence, I got it right away, and I've spoken about it ever since. So, we are going to have a virtual tour today. We are live streaming on 3 platforms. We're going to have a virtual tour today of your exhibit. So, I am going to hand it over to you, and I will sit here quietly, and then we will have some conversation on the other side.
Wonderful. My name is Kelly Walk Hines, like Susan said, and I'm here to show you my exhibit. My exhibit is called Hope in the Darkness, and it's a journey from hurt to healing. So I'm going to take you and I'm going to show you on the screen, just like if you were here viewing it. Because I feel like it's important to get the message everywhere. Because unfortunately, domestic violence is everywhere through every walk of life, every age, it doesn't matter. So I want to talk about it and provide a safe place. And the other reason I do this exhibit is because I lost my mom when I was little to domestic violence. And I feel like this is a way to honor her and to be the voice of victims that cannot speak right now. I am safe. I'm in a safe place where I can talk about it and other people can't. And I want to be the person that helps people understand the importance of talking about domestic violence, being kind to people that are in domestic violence, their families. And also, my exhibit is about hope, and it's about finding your way after any kind of trauma besides domestic violence. So I'm going to take you. So this is going into my exhibit. It's Hope in the Darkness. And I'll give you a view of the space. And everything is so it starts out. This is my virtual. When I do my virtual tours, I scratch off when I've done different states, which is really fun way to remind me of the reach that I'm having. So that really is the reason that I do it, and I want to make it accessible to everybody. So when you first come in my tour, this is the National Hotline for Domestic Violence Awareness. You can just grab a piece. You can also call and text. It's very important. I'll give you a second in case anybody needs to write that down. And I always encourage people, if you do search for help, because there is help out there, there is people that want to help. There are people that can help you figure out how to do the next step and kind of be your strength until you get to that place. But if you're going to research something, I would recommend you research it on a safe phone or computer. You might not want to do it on one where your spouse or your abuser can access it. So maybe a library or a church or a friend. But there is help out there, and there's people that want to help you. For us locally in Jersey is Serve. They do a lot of wonderful things to help with domestic violence survivors. And if you're in an area where you cannot figure out what your services are, you can also message me and I'll sit and I'll help you figure it out. I'll help you find what services are available in your area. So that's one thing that I take very important. Start your journey here. So before I start, I'm going to say this whole exhibit was created by my children, my two adult children, and myself. And I've had my best friend has helped me along the way with different things, and it's a community effort. Everybody helps me set up, tear it down. Um, it just is a beautiful thing that I'm able to do, and I'm very grateful for the Octopus's Garden and the Village on High to give me this beautiful space once a year for the whole month. So this is the first piece. It's called Baggage Check, and it has a broken mirror, and I'll show you what the words are in a minute. And these are actual words people have written. So this is the first part of the interactive piece. So if you have a pen or a paper, or if you just want to think about it in your head, that's fine, because this is for your business, not anybody else's. The concept of this is the mirror represents the past. Think of a word that holds you back, one that's negative, that you tell yourself or hold inside. Put it on that tag and let that baggage go. It's called Baggage Check. And my son helped me create this. And these are different things people have written, like talks too much, not enough, unimportant, learned helplessness, loser, imposter. I mean, these are pretty harsh things that we tell ourselves. And the concept of this exhibit or this piece is to take something negative that you tell yourself every day and let it go. Write it down and let it go. Now, that doesn't mean it's not going to pop back up. But what I want you to do, or I challenge you to do, is to replace it with something positive. So for me, I wrote too loud because as an adult, a lot of people tell me I'm too loud. So I let go of the negative connotation of too loud and I wrote it down and I'm letting it go. But I'm keeping the positive. So when it pops in my head that I'm too loud, I think to myself, I am too loud, but I'm loud because I'm passionate. I'm loud because I care. I'm loud because I'm the voice of people that cannot speak for themselves. So I am loud, and the people that love me and care about me will appreciate that I'm loud. And that's who I need to be around anyway. So it's just something to really think about. And writing it down makes it kind of real and makes you really think about it. So the next piece, and my daughter did all the artwork. I asked her, I told her what I needed the picture to feel, and that's what she came up with, and it's just so beautiful. I'm so blessed. So this one is a broken phone and a keychain without a key, and it's called Cut Off. And I have different pieces of my book written on each one, and then I have a QR code where you can hear me talk, but I'm going to read it to you. My dad would not allow my stepmom to work. He told her it was because he wanted her to stay home with the kids. The real reason is he wanted complete control over her. And it's called Cut Off. This piece is called I Hear You Struggle. It did not matter what time it was or if we ate dinner or not. My dad would scream at us to go to bed. Then for the rest of the night, he would abuse my stepmom. We could not make a sound or cry because then he would come flying into our room and we would be next. And it's called I Hear You Struggle. This piece, it has a domestic violence ribbon. Sometimes if you're in a massive body of water drowning, You must teach yourself to swim. Once you find that solid ground to stand on, do not look back. Then out of that cold water, you will find happiness and love and strength you never knew. And it's called suffocating. And then I made a storyline of my story. And my story starts with my beautiful mom. She unfortunately met abusive men, and she had my siblings. And then after she had all four of my siblings, she met my dad. And my dad promised her, like abusive men do, that he was different and that he was going to love her and take care of her family. But he didn't. He separated her from her family and he moved to a different state with her and her four kids. And then he abused her while she was away from any help that she could get. And then by the time she got pregnant with me, she realized that he was not going to change. So she left Indiana and came back to New Jersey. But he followed her because abusive men cannot just let go. And he stalked her until she finally went to Florida and she was with another man. And they took us all to school one day. And she told him she was done and she wanted to leave. And he killed her and left us all in school. I was just 3. I don't have a lot of pictures of myself, so I was a little bit older than that. But this is about how old we were when my mom was killed by a man she barely known. And it's just left us unintentionally abandoned. And there's my beautiful mom. And this is papers saying that the guy that killed her ran for 5 years. He ran to California to get away. And he literally left us in school with no mom and no dad to take care of us. And they had to call the emergency contact, which was her best friend. And then um, he was out of jail before I probably got into 10th grade. And then we moved, they sent us back to Jersey, and we moved with these people who weren't equipped to take care of 5 traumatized kids. This is the stairs to the 2 bedrooms where the 5 of us slept in the house that we moved to. And I feel like it just kind of says a lot about the house and it just was very cold. And we needed so much when we had been through so much already. And my dad found out that I was worth, like $400 because of the state would give him money because my mom had died. So he tried to get custody of me. So he started showing up when I was like 4. And this is court documents saying that he would carry me out of the house with his hand over my mouth when I'd be screaming and crying because I didn't know him. I was just a little girl who had lost her mom, and I had no idea who this big guy was. And he was cold, so I was his daughter, so he expected me to be happy to be with him. And then by the time I was 6, he got custody of me and took me away from my siblings. So by the time I was 6, I was in 3 different households, 3 different caregivers, 3 different rules, regulations. And then now at 6, I'm with a new family with my dad, my stepmom, and a stepbrother. And now I'm not really allowed to see my siblings. But the court document said I could see my siblings every Sunday. And my dad didn't tell me that he wouldn't let them come. So I would get dressed and go sit out on my porch and wait for them every Sunday. And they would never come. So I lived with my dad from when I was 6 to the end of 7th grade. And he used to beat my stepmom because abusers don't stop. Abusers don't stop. He separated her from her family. He separated her from her friends. He would not let her work. He would be angry at her because she didn't bring in any money. And then he would be angry at her if she tried to work because he was obsessed with her finding another man. So this poor woman was abused every single day, and me and my stepbrother, and that's why this picture is so poignant to the way I grew up. I was always in the other room listening to her getting beat and cussed at. And so I grew up to be the invisible child because I was afraid. I was afraid. So I didn't want anything. I didn't need anything. I literally just survived. I literally just listened for the next shoe to fall and when I was going to be next. And I learned if I was invisible and I didn't need anything, then I had a better chance of not getting hurt. Um, and this was a note that my stepmom had written me. It just says, a little note for you to tell you that I love you and I'm happy to have you as my daughter. Thank you for being you. Love you always, Mom. And then at the end of seventh grade, when she finally couldn't take anymore, she moved to Pennsylvania. But she also had to leave me too, because if she had contact with me, she'd have to have contact with my dad. And she just couldn't do it. So I lost somebody that I had considered like a mom figure. Again, and I went to live with my grandma. She was 88 at the time. She was my dad's grandma. And it was a place where I felt safe and happy and I could eat what I wanted. And she was very, very kind. And then I started being able to see my siblings again. They're my sisters when I first started seeing them again. And then this is all of us together, my brother and my sister and my sisters. And then at the end of or 10th grade, my dad started dating a girl who was 6 years older than me. So she was in her early 20s and she didn't know he was abusive. So she said, let's bring your daughter to come and live together and we could be a nice, happy family. But she didn't understand. So she had to endure him. And then I had to go back to being unsafe and being afraid. She was wonderful to me and kind, but I was so afraid of him by then. I was frozen. And then when I became a senior in high school, so after I left my grandmom's house, my dad refused to let me see her because, somehow it was her fault because she wanted me to stay. And then I wasn't able to see her until I got to drive when I was like 19. And by then she was in a nursing home, but at least I was able to have some time with her. And then when I became a senior in high school, my sister got killed in a car accident right when I was supposed to see her. And it was horrible. I was just starting to get to know her after all those years of being deprived of seeing her. And this is the woods that I ran away from my dad from. And all the pictures, the current pictures, were taken by my son to just show I found faith when I was little. That's what helped me through all this stuff. I didn't understand, necessarily all the Bible verses or the stories, but I knew that he loved me and I was grateful for that. This is a teddy bear I grew up with and I still have him. And my friends that helped me survive. So the reason I tell you, so I left at 21 with the clothes on my back and my nursing books. And that's all I had. I didn't have a lot of money. I had a job, but I had a determination and a fire that I was never going to allow anybody to control me like that. And I was going to be happy and I was going to find um, goodness in the world and I was going to do good and I was going to help other people. And I just knew that I was going to make a difference. And it was not an easy journey. It was challenging, but I was always okay. Like once I left there, I knew that, through the ups and downs, I was going to be okay. And that's one of the pieces of my exhibit. This wall could be anybody's trauma. Nobody gets through life without some kind of trauma. You just don't. And so if you just insert your trauma there and you realize that, there is a better tomorrow, there is better days ahead of you, and that things can get better and you can heal. Healing is possible. Healing is a journey. And that's what this piece is. This is called Healing in Motion. What year did you spread your wings? And that's another piece of the interactive is you write down what I'm going to tell you. So for healing is a process. You don't have something bad happen today and tomorrow you're better. Healing is accumulation of life and a journey. So you go through therapy, you are surrounded by good people, you learn and you grow. And it's the events that happen between A and Z is what causes the healing. So I challenge you to think of a couple years that have helped you in your healing. For me, it was 1990 when I left my dad's house with my nursing books and the clothes on my back and a whole lot of gumption. And 93 and 97 is when the biggest blessings in my life were born, my children, which was a tremendous, tremendous part of my healing. 2014 is when I got divorced. For me, that was a good thing that helped my healing journey. When I met my boyfriend in 2015. And in 2018 is when I wrote my book and I was able to unload a lot of that pain and baggage I was carrying. But everybody put their own, because I think sometimes we look back and we can remember or think about the negative things that happen. And I just challenge you to look back and think of positive things that have happened in life. Somebody put the day they came to the exhibit, which really made me happy. So I just have, people can stand in front of it and take their picture because they're 7 foot tall. um, and then here's the positive side of town. And this one is my blessings. Take take it from me, it gets better. And this piece has Faith on the boat, and he's saving her. No matter what church I went to, which was a few different ones, God was always the same. His love for me gave me the fuel to carry on. He met me where I was and continues to meet me where I am. And it's called My Rescue. And then this one is Home Sweet Home. It's called We Got This, because that's one thing that me and my kids always say to each other. You've got this, we've got this. Um, because we do. Like, we can go through hard things, but we have each other and we've got this. We'll get through it. And when you have that kind of attitude, it makes things a lot easier. Not saying I don't have hard days or hard times, but I know that I'm not always going to be sitting here crying. I know that, tomorrow I'm going to pick myself up and go on. This is called We Got This. After the divorce, I moved in with my grandmother. I was finally not afraid to come home after school. For the first time, I looked forward to the end of the day. Besides the nightmares, I finally felt safe. And then this one is a positive phone with positive words. Like, we love you, don't forget, you've got this, and reminder, love yourself. And then it has a key with a keychain, and it's called Connected. You are in control of how your story ends. Life goes on in a beautiful way after domestic violence. It takes a lot of strength, perseverance, and healing, but it's possible, especially with help. Once that happens, you'll be able to say that your story has a whole new chapter, and it's called Connected. And one of my favorite parts of the exhibit is that the pictures mirror each other or the opposite of each other. So it's the broken mirror, no key, the key, and a good phone. The family's apart and the family's together. And then she's drowning and then she's saved. And then this is my family. They're my friends and my kids and my family that help me on a daily basis. So this is your story's just beginning. So this is the opposite of the negative mirror. This is the clean mirror for your future, because you can make changes and things can be different. It's sometimes when life is hard, you just feel like life is thrown up in the air and you don't know how those pieces are going to land, or you feel like they're not going to land the same way you throw them up. And, that's okay, because they'll land the way they're supposed to land. and things change, but things can be okay even though they're different. And so this piece is called Love Looks Good on You. This mirror represents hope for the future. Grab a pin or two and put them somewhere to remind you that positive self talk is important. Read it and then remind yourself that things get better. You are worth it. And then I put positive affirmations and I encourage people to take it. So it's like self love is good. You are not alone. Things get better. Life gets better. You're enough. You matter. You are loved. Never give up. Life gets better. I am worth it. Be true to yourself. Healing in motion. You have to feel it to get through it. We got this. Never give up. And then I put a couple in Spanish and I have a whole nother bunch down here. And the concept is you can take it and put it on your mirror, in your car, in your purse, just so you can see it and just repeat it to yourself that it's important to hear. And then this piece is my Hope in the Darkness piece. And it starts out in this room. I feel like we've all been in this room one time or another where you feel like it's so dark you can't see the next step. And you kind of forget that there is, you're so like such a heavy feeling on your chest. You don't remember what it's like to breathe without all that heaviness. And this piece of the exhibit is to show you that things, do get better. If you have hope for the future, you can get through that room. It just takes time. You have to sit with it, you have to feel it, and you have to move through it. But if you have just that slither of hope, you can get to the other side and get out of that dark room. So what I encourage people is to think about what they're hopeful for now, what they're hopeful for when they're okay. Because if you wait till you get in that dark place to think of things you're hopeful for, it's really hard to come up with. But if you think about it now, when you get in that dark room, you can find your way out. And then once you've been through that room and you figure out your hope and you get out the other side, the next time you get in that room, it still hurts the same, but you're going to get out of that room. It just takes time, and we have to sit with that, and we have to go through that time, and then we get out to the other side because we always do. And then my last piece is called The Ubiquity of Abuse in Society, Hidden in Plain Sight. If you or someone you know have been affected by sexual abuse, child abuse, or domestic violence, place the stone that represents the abuse in the bigger jar. After a month of the exhibit, it's clear to see how immersed in society abuse really has become. We must make a change and we must not be silent. And this is just a few of the stones that people have put in there, just the people that have come the last couple weeks. So I'll just show you the exhibit one more time. You can see the whole thing, its entirety. But it's a journey from hurt to healing. Okay, that's my whole exhibit.
Oh my gosh, Kelly, I just I just want to invite everyone to take a moment now and just come back to consciousness from this experience and use your breath to support you. So long, slow, deep breath in, long, extended exhale out. I have a lot to say, Kelly. I saw this exhibit in person myself when I think when you first created it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you first created it, my dear friend and I went and saw it in person. It's evolved over that time. even though I had seen it myself in person, I was already there. I know you. I know your story. I knew what was coming. I was completely overcome by emotion. I was crying myself a few times as you talked through the early journey empathically. I think that, especially because I've worked with hundreds of women now as a coach, um, and I could feel the energy of the horror of the worst of what you were describing, or shades and shades and shades less that are still difficult. And so, also, I wanted to acknowledge, Kelly, that you've written out your story. You're a speaker. You've traveled to speak. You are live. You live stream. You have your own Facebook group, and you've told the story over and over. But how revealed it was that even as often as you've told the story, how deep that 3-year-old girl is in you, who still
Yes.
cries today when you told the story of that little girl waiting for her siblings and they're never coming because of the abuse and the abuser preventing you from being in connection with family and anyone who might love you. And I really want to acknowledge that and say here, Kelly, that that is the reality of our lives. My coaching tool that I call Under the Surface is designed to, bring this up and work in healing. But as we go about our daily existence, looking at every human we see in the course of a day's time, it's important for us to see right here in front of us in this live experience how much healing you've done, but how
Yes, sure.
deeply embedded that still is. And
Yeah.
most people have something like that going on, what I call under the surface. So,
Mhm.
one of the things that Kelly has done is she's written a book called Rack 'em Up, and it's 200 ideas to spread random acts of kindness. This is just one of the many books that she's written. And it's, to me, it's extraordinary that you became the person. I wrote down, I was writing while you were going through the exhibit, and you said, I had a determination and a fire to do good in life, to do good in the world and make a difference. And
Yes.
even wrote a comment, and I wonder to myself, how is that possible from the trauma you described from such early years? And when you talked about coming into safety with your grandmother, I know the deeper story, walking to the church,
Yeah.
finding faith. I love how you said that, no matter what church you were in, God was still sort of God, and God
Right.
was good for you. You have such an open way of expressing your faith, belief, and I've learned from you and a few others, Jesus is love, not hate. And
Right.
how much you teach that, and how much that was a saving grace for
Yes.
you,
Sure.
right? And
Yes.
then, but there was another poignant moment for me. I'm thinking of you in 7th grade, you're 13, 12, 13, and you've been in a loving place with your grandmom for a few years, and you found safety in God and the church, and so on. And then you were still vulnerable at that young age, that you didn't get a choice. That woman your father met, that young woman who romanticized about a little family, we could have, and all of that, she didn't know the truth, but you knew the truth. But still, at that age, you were completely aware, completely cognizant of your reality now, which at 3, you're not, bad things are happening,
Right.
things are happening to you. But at 12, 13, you're taken away and put back in that circumstance. I thank God she was a lovely young woman.
She definitely was.
Yeah, that's amazing. And but these steps along the way of your journey are honestly, as we sit in this conscious moment together, having been on this journey with you, I just want to invite our viewers and our listeners to realize this is the journey of the person you're living with, you're rooming with, you're working with, who's at the supermarket, who's at the church, who's, your next door neighbor. Oh, Kelly, I want to say thank you so much for this extraordinary experience.
Thank you
What
for always giving me the space to talk about it and the space to show it, and for your support over the years. Is it's been amazing just to be able to have somebody that I can bounce things off of. And you've been my struggles with my health issues, and you have really met me where I'm at, and helped me through it, and not judged. And I definitely appreciate all of your support.
It's really honestly my pleasure. I am aware, of course, of your health issues and how deeply embedded this kind of traumatic abuse and violence gets deep into the cellular level of our beings. And
Yes.
it's something that you struggle with. One of my friends, Anne, asked what area of nursing you went into. I'd love to have you share that.
Mental health nursing. I worked with kids my whole life. I used to I was when I first got my nursing license, I was 24. So I was inpatient in a crisis unit with kids for 10 years, and only God's grace that allowed me to be that young and to be able to be helpful. I ended up being the charge nurse, and working and meeting some really amazing people. But yeah, and then I worked with pregnant and parenting teens. I've always worked with kids. Kids are my absolute heart. And anybody that knows me knows that I love kids, because, I feel like if I can offer love and care, I just always wanted that as a kid. And I had friends that gave it to me. I had friends' parents that gave it to me. But and I had people that tried to give it to me, family that, my dad just wouldn't let him have them have access to me. So growing up feeling sad and depressed, and just always on alert. That was my emotion as a child. I was on defense. I was always just worried that I was going to get hurt. So I didn't get to, learn anything else. So by being a mental health nurse has been incredibly just tremendous, and I'm very grateful that I was able to go into that.
So, okay, a few things. Anne says, wow, I knew it. She said,
I didn't
I
have any
knew you
other
would.
choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just want to say my friend Evie, Lennon is online as
Hi,
well.
Evie.
Yeah, she said, I love you. And she's been participating in this tour exhibit
Wonderful.
as well. And your friend Crystal is here.
Yeah, that's my bestie. That's the one I was telling you. I've known her since ninth grade, and she really saved me in high school. Her and her family were the ones that really gave me a refuge. My dad would only allow me to go out like, one day a week. But she was a safe place to go to, and she's been constant. I'm 55, and I know I talk to her every day, and she's even helped me with the exhibit, which is really cool. She came up with the clothespin idea, and a few other ideas. So I'm very blessed to have her, and even for her to be on this, because she knows my story. If
I
she's heard it,
know.
she could recite it probably better, not
I
better than me, but
want to just show you people in this book. You've carried the clothespin idea
yes.
forward in your Random Acts of Kindness book, and you have clothespins with the affirmations: trust your gut, you are independent, be grateful, have courage. And I know that you thanked your bestie in this book
Yeah.
as well for her love and support. So
Yeah.
also this shows us, I was just on the phone with a client. He's 35, and he's on a consciousness journey with me as a coach, and his little baby girl is 2 years old. And we talk a lot about the different life that she'll experience having high consciousness and positivity.
Yeah.
And the way you've evolved this exhibit, there's something else I want to say about that with your children. I'll say that in a second. But the way you've evolved this exhibit, infusing positivity, which we now know is actually scientifically researched as, a proven method of health and, good health and benefit and a good life. It's extraordinary to go through this, because I saw myself. Of course, I'm going to watch this again. I always watch and learn from the people I interview and speak with. And I felt it happening. I went from this difficult, dark, crying, emotional energy, and I found myself, as we went around the room, that amazing butterfly, and then into the positive side. I wrote down my own years.
Yay!
Eve. And then as we came, I could feel myself smiling. I felt it in the muscle memory of my body. I felt my demeanor lift, and I felt the physical smile coming onto my face, which in Qigong we call that body movement, and it's one of what we call the three treasures. I wanted to say something about your children, your amazing, beautiful children. I haven't met your son. I've spoken with your daughter, Samantha. And that is, I wrote down the intergenerational cycle of violence, or the multi-generational cycle of violence.
Right.
And what a miracle it is that you have broken that cycle.
Yes, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I mean, my kids, healed me and provided such comfort and love, and it's hard to explain that. As much as, I raised them, because I'll always say, well, you raised me to be good. And I'm like, well, the only reason I was able to do that is because I finally had that love that was unconditional back that I always craved. And we did it together. And my goal was, I was going to take care of my kids. I was going to meet their needs the way my needs were not met. And it's proof that it works, because my kids are just wonderful, loving, kind. This exhibit is all of us. And like the stones, my son came up with that idea that he had seen from somebody else, and he was like, Mom, we should do that. And my daughter did all this artwork. She did all this artwork in 3.5 months, because I had an idea of what I wanted to do.
I know. She always comes through for you with your
she's
ideas.
Like, Mom, she designs all my covers on my book. And then
right, exactly.
My son and my daughter-in-law helped come and set up with me, and my boyfriend. It's, what I realized, it's easy to look back now, but the reason that my life as an adult has been able to be what it is because I've been around good people. And that's so important, to have a good circle, somebody that you can rely on. I mean, my best friend is in North Carolina. She's in North Carolina, but that does not matter, because when I need something, she's there. So it's important to pick the people. So important to do. So I feel very grateful for this.
Sorry, that was another thing I wrote down that you said. I wrote this down: the people who I need to be around. And you said, now, like Crystal, your friend, who's commenting on this conversation. And then I wrote down people who not just accept me, but for who I am or how I am, but people who love me for
Absolutely.
who I am and how I am. And there's a big difference there. Oh, that's who she is. No, it's not that. I love who she is.
Exactly.
That's what we're talking about here.
Right. And you're not too much. And that's what people, don't understand. And not everybody's supposed to be in your circle, and not everybody's supposed to have access to you, and I love lots of people, but I also have boundaries, and I know, I think it's so important to have those people that build you up and that love you regardless of whatever. Because I always have ideas, I do. I'm always have this idea, that time, and you want somebody to encourage you and not just be like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing,
Yes.
the butterfly came up, the idea, this is the first year I've had that. And
Yes, I noticed it was
and
new.
yeah, in August, I was like, let me come up with something different. So I always try to make it better. And, and then this friend that I made at the pool that I'm at in the summer, she was like, I'll help you. And she helped me. And we cut out there's all little hearts that we cut out by hand. She helped me glue it. She spent hours and hours. And it's just it's just amazing to be around good people that see my purpose and see why I do. Because some people don't understand. They're like, why are you doing that? Somebody said, how much do you get paid to do that? And I'm like, I don't get paid. I put my own money into this. I do this every year. I've done it for 6 years, and I spread it around. I don't anything I get, like, if people give me donations or whatever, I use it to give books, to be able to give it books to people that don't have the money to buy my books. So it's like, it's for a bigger purpose. It's I want to spread hope, because I know that's what keeps me going. I just wanted to show you and show them. That's my oh that's my actual book.
Yeah.
And they're my sibling. Well, they're my siblings on there.
Yeah, we
And
can.
that's another creation of Sam. She took the picture that only had four of my siblings and then added me. So it's just this gives me on fire. This being here and talking to people. And I usually take people individually, or families that come together, so that they can tell me. And they do start out with tears, and they do start out with sharing things that are hurtful, but that's the whole purpose. Every part of this exhibit is intentional. It's from the black brick on the wall on the one side, um, to the white brick on the other side. It's all intentional, so that you feel and evokes different emotions. Because life's hard, and I'm not here to tell anybody that just be happy and then it won't hurt as bad. I'm here to tell you sometimes things suck. Sometimes, right now, I'm 55 years old, and I don't not have a car to drive. But guess what? I'm okay. I'm
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
it's all good. And it's really, attitude has a lot to do with life, for sure.
It does indeed. And first of all, I love that you met a person at a pool
I
and
know, right?
connected with her, and she helped you with this. So there, I do want to really highlight something here. This space is donated to you by whom?
Yes.
By whom?
It's the Village on High, Marianne Cannon, and then the Octopus's Garden, which is a amazing little store that has like 150 artists that have all kinds of stuff. That's right next to my cottage. And they both let me come here, and they don't charge me to use this space every year for 6 years. And I would not have this space if they didn't do it. And I really couldn't put it, because it cost me enough money to set it up and to buy the materials, and my time. I'm here 4 days a week, sometimes more. So for them to be able to not, for me not to have to worry about a space is tremendous. So I always tell them thank you so much. And I'm
So we're
very,
going to also tag them in the show notes here because,
yes,
of course, I'm a philanthropy advisor. I've become a philanthropist myself. And this is the greatest thing that is happening right now. You wouldn't have this experience. Your kids wouldn't have
no,
this experience. I wouldn't have had the experience. We wouldn't be streaming this live if they
no.
didn't donate this space. And I always tell people, it's an adorable little cottage. It's an adorable little area that you're in. And I always tell people, you think only rich people can be philanthropists. You think you have to have millions of dollars. You have to give, thousands for it to make a difference. But honestly, these people, that woman you mentioned, and these people, they're doing what they can with what
Yes.
they have. Somebody
Right.
made a decision for that 1 month's rent
Mm-hmm.
for purpose that is in their value system. It shows who they
Yeah.
are as people. And so I'm happy to bring out that aspect. This is legacy. As soon as you said it's been 6 years that I'm doing this, the first thing I thought of myself is, we need to start planning your 10th anniversary.
Yes.
Raise a little bit of money around this so that this really can be supported. I remember our conversation when you said, I have in mind a virtual exhibit. You know, somehow with the trauma, the abuse, the difficulty, the total, complete inner suppression from the outer oppression, whereby you said, I was always on alert. So from a physiological perspective, from a brain perspective, we know the cortisol was pumping, and we know that that creates a lot of difficulties. Somehow, by the grace of God, obviously, instead of breaking,
Right.
you were able to keep it together. I believe this was a divine path. I believe this is a divine journey, and you were able to keep it together to get here to this point in wholeness. Now your body broke down a little bit. You know, we have these health concerns and so forth and so on. But it's really, honestly, a miracle that we are here today. As I said, we're streaming this live on 3 platforms. I have seen this exhibit myself. I cannot say how much I want to encourage people to travel to New Jersey to see this. So we're going to put the address of this. Does it go through October 31st?
Well, actually, I'm going to be wrapping it up on Monday because it's only one day. It would only be that Thursday, and I have to have it cleaned out by the 1st.
It takes a few days.
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, so it's just where it falls on that Thursday. I was going to do it on Thursday, but then it would be like trying to do it and then trying to tear it down. And I'm trying to take it down with, respect to what it is and keep it organized and neat. And then, and I can only do so much being sick. So I'm learning to respect my own boundaries and my own, because I'm normally like, I can do whatever. And
right. So I love this for you, Kelly. You know how happy this makes me, because we have conflicting desires. You know, this is spiritual for you. It's epic for you. And yet you've learned to trust and respect your body in self-care, in self-wellness. You know, and you even said it before, like, you know, you are here. It says you are in control of how your story ends. And so you're giving yourself grace to a couple of days to take it down, etc. Well, this virtual tour is going to be permanent forever, as long as YouTube exists, and we'll be able to point people in the personal tour in the direction of this. And we'll put a couple of notes because you already know where you're going to be next October 1st.
Right. You know? And I'm also the next couple of days I'm going to be recording so that I can still do the virtual stuff. I'm going to do 2 different things. I'm going to have a virtual where you actually see me go through and do it. And then I'm going to do one like I did for you, but do it so that, and then a slideshow one. So where I can actually go to a church or a group or a bookstore and be able to show my slides and still talk about it. So I'm always thinking.
I do indeed, my friend. Also, I
out.
want to invite anybody who's listening to this to know that Kelly is a paid professional speaker on this topic. And so if you have a group where you think it's important to share this, we'll put the contact information. Please consider bringing Kelly in. This is her work. This is her business. This is how she gets paid. And we can all support you in this way. So your friend Crystal said, when I talked about the 10th anniversary, I'm already starting to think about it. She said, great idea. She'll have her next book out by then.
Yes, that's my... Yes, and that's going to be Memoirs of a Loud, Loud Woman instead
Right.
of Memoirs of an Invisible Child, because once I learned to talk, I haven't shut up since.
I know. It's so good. So I'm going to end with something that's so deeply meaningful for me. Kelly and I met years ago. We met because online she messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm happy to help you with that if you want." And guess what I did? To this stranger, I said yes. And we set up a call and we talked and we got to know each other. We've been supporting each other so deeply. I've worked with Kelly. She has supported me in my trauma. It's ridiculous. And so I had an opportunity to do something that was helpful with the Random Acts of Kindness book. And so she gave me a page in the book, which I want to read to you what I chose to write when I was given this opportunity to be in this amazing book. Do yourself a kindness in whatever way you can to support yourself, your soul, your truth, and your life. And then I have in quotation marks, anything is better than nothing. And it says, in memory of Dr. Howard M. Axelrod.
Yes.
Howie was my husband who came into difficulty, but through the journey myself, my own journey, taking control of my own life, I have got to a point where I wanted to honor him and have him be remembered. And that was his mantra to me when he helped me start getting on my fit life journey. Anything is better than nothing. And it applies in so many ways. And so I want to thank you so much for that, Kelly.
I was happy.
Girl, I love you.
I love you too.
I want to thank you
Go.
so much for this time, this conversation. And you know where to find me. If there's anything I can do to support you.
Same. And we'll definitely talk, because I definitely want to talk about you know, the raising money and doing something bigger than what I've been doing. So I definitely want to. And before I leave, I just want to say too, is I wanted to give a little spotlight to my stepmom that, you know, that ended up asking us to me to come live with her with my dad, because she didn't know who she was dealing with. She was wonderful to me and kind to me despite him. And she has been my whole life. She's helped me in so many ways and been so gracious and kind. And I'm very glad that she's part of my life. So, you know, I just wanted to highlight that. And I'm so grateful for every single person that has positively been in my journey. So, and thank you for your time, and thank you for you. I really appreciate you and all your good work. So together we're making a difference.
We absolutely are. To that woman, you know, who came into your life, even though I said what I said about the poignance of your consciousness at that time, I am 100% certain of the divine nature of the people
Absolutely.
who are coming in to your life.
100%. And that's the thing. That's why I take it serious when people come into my life, and especially children. I feel like they came to me for a reason. I feel like God put certain people in my life, and I take it serious, and I pour all the love that I can into them because I love them and I care about them. And, you know, God has placed me with that in my heart, and it fuels me. That's what people don't understand. When you help other people, it fuels yourself too. It's amazing. And that's why I wrote that Random Acts of Kindness book, because some people want to be kind and they don't know how, you know, they don't know what to do. So
I just glanced over. I have a plaque that you
okay.
know what I'm going to say, I bought a few years ago, and this is where we'll end it. Be fearless in pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. Okay,
Amen.
my friend, wishing you all the best. I'll see you again soon. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you for whoever attended.